about the world today. It's a mess. That's to say, it's a mess. Thank God for the good people who are listening, trying to make it better. But on the whole, it's a mess. Because they're leaving out God. It's a godless word on the whole. And God loves us all so much.
Hi. Nicholas Barker wrote a book called My Hero, Thomas Merton. I like this title, My Hero. In this troubled world where it's so difficult to focus, there are so many difficult things we're living through in the world of today. So many horrible events, but we cannot let them stop us no matter what happens. I feel you must move forward with optimism and not get totally sides with. I realize that Thomas helps us to stay focused. It is obvious when you look around. You know for sure that a credible book helps people to think. The writings of Thomas Merton are sure brought huge number of men and women into the lives of a spiritual contemplation. Why people take time to read? Let me try to explain. First of all, for those who don't know him, Thomas Merton was a Trappist monk from 1915 to 1968. A poet, a social activist, best known as of his autobiography, The Seven-Story Mountain, which for many decades brought huge number of young men and women into lives of spiritual contemplation all across America and beyond. The book of Seven Stories Mountain is, in my opinion, a must-read. He is the only writer that I read pretty much every day. There's a small book of hours that never stopped inspiring me. The main thing about Thomas is his love of nature and his need to constantly interrogate himself, and his extraordinary humility. He is very good in language. As soon as you start reading him, you find yourself transported to the wooden porch of his hermitage in Gethsemane in Kentucky. An example of this is, it is nighttime, the crickets roar, you are perched on my comfortable stool, watching the fireflies flip through the darkness. Lord of all his great nights, Merton signs, do you see the woods? Do you hear the rumors of their loneliness? Do you behold their secrecy? Do you remember their solitude? Do you see that my soul is beginning to dissolve like wax within me? Take time to read some of his reflection or poem. His quotes, his writing stands to transform your life and for the better by inviting more hope. It doesn't to escape the noise. Thomas Merton knew that the only way to change the world is by changing individual people, adjusting your life vision. The 7 books in the series to help to adjust your vision of life to on compassion and to self-giving love. Each 8-session booklet provides an introduction to Merton's and contemplative living through prayer, reading from Merton and other spiritual master, in question for smaller groups dialogue. One great way to think, share, pray with others. Remember that our faith is not a question of us or you alone with God. We are called to be with others and pray with others. There's a good documentary made by Paul Wicks or Audrey Lorraine Glynn years ago about Thomas Merton. If you want to see it, I have put as a link under this page. Here's a little prayer from Thomas Merton that I like. Lord, you have taught us to love humility, but we have not learned. We have learned only to love the outward surface of it, the humility that makes a person charming and attractive. We sometimes pause and think about these qualities, and we often pretend that we possess them and that we have gained them by practicing humility. If we were really humble, we would know to what extent we are liars. Teach me to be humble and shows me without ceasing that I am a liar and a fraud, and that even though this is so, I have an obligation to strive after truth, to be as truth as I can. Even though I would inevitably find my truth half poisoned with deceit. This is the terrible thing about humility, that it is never fully successful. You, Lord, were humble, but our humility consists of being proud and knowing all about it and being crushed by the unbearable weight of it, and to be able to do so little about it. The more we struggle to be true, the more we discover our falsity. Is it merciful of your light to bring us inexorably to despair? No. It is not to despair that you bring me, but to humility. For true humility is, anyway, a very real despair of myself, in order that I may hope entirely in you. Amen. Thanks for listening to me, and I wish you a great day.